Aging gracefully isn't just about creaky joints and keeping your cholesterol under control. It's also about what's happening between your ears. As people live longer, questions around mental health and cognitive resilience are growing louder, and with good reason. The later decades of life can bring profound joy, but they also carry an increased risk of loneliness, anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. But here's the increasingly fascinating twist. Your brain might not just be shaped by your genes, your memories, or your crossword habit. It might be deeply influenced by what's on your plate. Enter the MIND diet and the AHEI, Alternative Healthy Eating Index, two dietary frameworks that, while distinct in emphasis, share a common promise. Feed your body well, and your brain might just thank you for it. Let's start with the MIND diet, a blend of the Mediterranean and DASH diets tailored specifically to promote brain health. It highlights 10 brain-supportive food groups, like leafy greens, berries, nuts, whole grains, and fish, and discourages 5 known offenders: red meats, butter, cheese, pastries, and fried or fast food. It's essentially the edible version of that friend who always texts you to drink more water, get outside, and stop doom scrolling. Research has shown that higher adherence to the MIND diet is linked not just to slower cognitive decline, but also to lower risk of depression, especially in older adults. A study from the Rush Memory and Aging Project found that participants who followed the MIND diet closely had a 53% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. And the perks weren't limited to memory. Participants also reported better mood, more social engagement, and higher quality of life. The researchers even found that moderate adherence still provided benefits, which is great news for anyone who occasionally finds themselves alone with a cheese board. So how does this all work? A few delicious ways, actually. The MIND diet is rich in polyphenol and antioxidants, particularly from berries and green vegetables, which reduce oxidative stress in the brain. It's also high in omega-3 fatty acids, primarily from fish and nuts, which help reduce neuroinflammation, protect synaptic integrity, and modulate mood-regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin. That means a weekly salmon dinner might be doing double duty, lowering your blood pressure and buffering you against depression. Meanwhile, the AHEI diet casts a slightly wider net. Developed to assess overall diet quality in terms of chronic disease prevention, it scores foods based on their impact on health markers like inflammation, blood lipids, and glucose control. While not designed specifically for brain health, the AHEI has shown strong correlations with lower depression scores, reduced anxiety, and better subjective well-being in older adults. Several cohort studies, including the Nurses' Health Study and the Whitehall 2 study, have linked high AHEI scores with lower risk of late-life depression and better cognitive outcomes, even after adjusting for physical activity, education, and social factors. One possible explanation: the AHEI, like the MIND diet, is essentially an anti-inflammatory, gut-friendly way of eating. And given the emerging science around the gut-brain axis, it's not a stretch to suggest that a diet supporting microbial diversity, read, more fiber, fewer ultra-processed foods, could help regulate mood, stress response, and even cognitive performance. Your gut microbiome, after all, manufactures a significant portion of your body's serotonin and communicates constantly with your central nervous system. Feed it well, and it seems to return the favor with better emotional regulation and stress resilience. Moreover, both the MIND and AHEI dietary patterns help stabilize blood sugar, which is crucial for mental stability in older age. Glucose swings can exacerbate anxiety, irritability, and depressive symptoms, especially in those with insulin resistance or diabetes, conditions that become more common with age. A steady supply of complex carbohydrates, combined with healthy fats and protein, helps keep both your mood and your neurons from going on roller coaster rides. Let's not forget vitamin and mineral status either. Deficiencies in B12, folate, magnesium, and zinc have all been linked to poor mood, irritability, and accelerated cognitive decline. MIND and AHEI diets, being rich in whole, nutrient-dense foods, help ensure these micronutrients are replenished over time. No supplement aisle panic necessary. And then there's the social and behavioral dimension. People who follow structured dietary patterns like MIND or AHEI are also more likely to cook, eat regular meals, and share food socially, all behaviors strongly associated with reduced loneliness and improved psychological resilience in the elderly. A plate of roasted vegetables and lentils shared with a friend may not sound like therapy, but in many ways, it functions that way. Of course, none of this means diet alone is the answer. Mental health is deeply complex and influenced by genetics, trauma, social connection, economic stress, and physical health. But nutrition is one of the most accessible and modifiable levers we have, and its effect on mental health and cognitive function is no longer just speculative. So, can dietary patterns support mood stability and mental vitality into your 70s, 80s, and beyond? Increasingly, the answer is yes. The right diet won't erase grief or anxiety, but it might make your mind more resilient to them. It won't cure dementia, but it could delay its onset or blunt its progression. And it just might help you spend your older years not just alive, but mentally present, curious, emotionally balanced, and remembering where you left your glasses. In short, food is not just fuel, it's emotional infrastructure. And every leafy green or berry you eat could be helping to build a better, sturdier brain. One bite, one thought, one bright, resilient day at a time.